So we're back to you doing the fancy rolling intros. I got to do it one time last week and not anymore.
This black is really slimming, Chef.
I think it's all the carrot juice. I don't think it's the black.
Well,
You really turned your diet around.
sorry about that. All right, so hey, it's February. How about that, folks?
Happy February.
We are wheeling and dealing our way through 2024. Of course, we're here to virtually taste with you.
It wasn't February last video. It wasn't. Today the 8th?
Did we make a video last week? I don't remember.
We did.
Did we?
I think it was on February 1st.
But we might have filmed it on the 31st.
Maybe
something
so.
like that.
I think you're trying to get extra February time because it's your birthday month.
Wouldn't that be nice? Because it is the shortest month of the year. Poor little February.
Although a little longer this year.
This year we got 29 days. That's great. We're here to virtually taste. We're at Old North State Winery. We taste wines from all over the world so that you know why our wines are special. We think they are anyway here in the Yadkin Valley. And we just released our Tanat.
Beautiful.
We're really excited about that. Yadkinville grapes.
And the Spring House.
Oh, that just hit the floor
today.
Spring House
hit the floor and bright, acidy, little peach in there.
Yeah. So we got some fun stuff going on at the winery, but there's so many great wines around the world. We want to talk about them. We want to experience them. We got a huge crowd here in person tonight, but for those of you that can't be here, we're so glad that you could come by and pick up your tasting kit and taste along with us. For those of you that are not picking up the tasting kit, you should. It's fun to listen to us ramble on, I'm sure, about wine.
What could be better?
But it'd be even better if you were drunk.
which leads us to the next stage of the video.
Anyway. Oh, by the way, you know how we don't take second takes, we don't edit, we don't have a sound crew or a producer, editor, anything like that. But
we have a new boom operator.
Becca got us little sound clippers, so
you may have improved sound.
It may not. Who knows?
We don't know. All I know is I want to scratch it.
We know we're here to talk about wine, and if you'll listen to us, we will continue to do so every week. Voila. There is the spiel. Now let's talk about the wine. Wines of the world.
Thank you.
And of course, we are in Old North State Wine. We're down in the dungeon. They stuck Chef down in the bottom, the coldest, darkest place.
Where I belong.
Where we like it down here. I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong.
Well, it helps with preservation.
It does, yeah. We're going to preserve ourselves with alcohol and cold.
And cold.
Yeah. So we got Gai'a as our producer here. This is a beautiful red. Of course, we're from the Peloponnesian Peninsula. It says right here it's vegan, Chef. That's great to know.
Sweet. It goes with carrot juice.
So we're not talking about something that was marinated in lamb's blood. This is actual vegan.
The original
recipe.
There was
like Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Well, it was. I think it was actually goat lining. Goat stomach lining.
Yes.
They kept them in goat bladders.
Goat skins.
Goat skin bladders.
Yeah. Yeah, that was 1,000 years ago.
They didn't make it in there, but they kept it in there. It's a great way to travel with it. So if you want to go down the river, take some wine with you. You just slaughter a goat, rip out its stomach.
Well, you know a lot about musty sacks.
I just read about it. I wouldn't know.
Agiorgitiko. This is a fun little grape that I think everyone should know about. I mean, I think one of the most
household name.
One of the most confusing things on the planet, I would say, is Greek wines. Well, we owe the Greeks everything because they're the ones that spread the word of wine. And there's a reason why there's wine. The original reason that we have wine all over the world is because of their exploits of spreading everywhere they went. And then, of course, after that, the Romans did a fabulous job, and the Spanish.
And then, of course, they taught us about political murder for hire, which, we owe them that, too.
Yeah, well, that's been around. They'll always be around. I wish somebody would kill somebody now, but that's a whole different story. Now, elections are coming up. Don't forget to vote. Some of these people need to go.
Silence is complicity.
Yes. So anyway,
participate in your own demise.
Back from the doom and gloom version of the episode here. we're gonna be happy and enjoy life with a delicious glass of wine because that makes everything better. Now, this varietal, like Chef Chris said, is probably not going to roll off your tongue or anything like that, but it's been around for a very long time. And it's, in my opinion, a very important grape. We don't cover it much. And so here I am talking about it. Now, this has beautiful color, beautiful purple. There's a kind of savoriness, I would say,
There's
Chef.
a very big savoriness. Some great umami in this. Very squid inkish.
You could
it's absolutely delicious. I honestly did not expect it to be this full and round. It's
right. You kind of.
I thought it'd be thinner. I don't know why. I had nothing to base it on, but I just thought it would be that sun drenched area. Though it makes sense. It has full bodies.
A lot of people naturally assume that reds near coast or on islands or peninsulas are going to be thinner because there are so many examples of that. And this does not drink as much like a Pinot as it does more like a Merlot or a Malbec, I would say.
Very much Merlot-esque. Probably not as blue as Merlot in the flavor profile, but the weight of it is certainly in the Merlot family.
Now, this, keep in mind, is a very affordable sub $20 wine. So this is simply the jumping off point for this grape. There are certainly some great examples of expensive ones that if you want to further venture up the food chain in terms of price, you can do it. But when it's this good at this price, why are we not drinking more of this?
Well, thank you, because now we're going to, all of us, folks at home, folks in this room.
And Gai'a is really good about giving us wines at our price point. So there's something for everyone at every price point. Of course, we do these little videos, and our very low budget in terms of sending out bottles of wine. We're basically doing it at cost for the educational side of things. But we can't really be throwing out $30, $40 bottles of wine. We don't make that much.
Well, we can. It would just be our last episode.
Until we get sponsors, of course. I mean, obviously, we're sponsored by Old North State, but we're sponsored by Old North State to run a beautiful restaurant. This is kind of just our for fun stuff.
So what we need is for you folks at home who have renowned wineries to start shipping us bottles.
Yes.
And to get all this wonderful free press.
Yeah, when we do, we are enthusiastic about wine. As a matter of fact, Chef Chris and I, in a month, will be in Spain.
It's so close.
Hopefully in the soil of Rioja. And God willing, Priorat, and maybe some other places too.
Well, I think that we're going to spend a disproportionate amount. I know we have some touristy things to do, but I would say the vast majority of our time is going to be spent exploring the Navarra and Priorat and Rioja, which I think they're both. Priorat's a little outside, right?
A couple hours,
yeah. A little further.
Yep. But
Rioja,
hey, we're in a great
minutes,
and we're like what, 2 hours from Bordeaux. Yeah, I mean, like it's amazing the proximity to great wineries. So we love to explore. We love to promote. If anybody wants to sponsor any trips for us, we are happy to accept.
And we will take meticulous notes.
I will say this though: your wine better be good because we don't pawn crappy wine. No offense to those that are pawning crappy wine.
That gas tank's not going to fill itself, I guess.
Yeah, but we do believe that the wines that we select for these videos are truly, they've been vetted, they've been tested. Of course, I always surprise Chris 99% of the time.
Tested nonetheless.
I've tested them, and I like to surprise him to get his natural reaction. So, Chef, what do you taste?
And I will say this, as just to put it out there, I don't ever tell anybody what they want to hear.
That's a fact.
So if I mean, like, I'm not like going, oh, I'm just going to blindly support Ed, because I blindly support Ed no matter what. Like, we just got through burying it. I mean, anyway, but like, so I would not be like, oh yeah, puppy dog. I mean, like, this is our profession. We take it very seriously. So I mean, these are legitimate reviews.
We spent decades drinking wine and fine food. We're not going to piss it all
It's
away.
not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it over 1 or 2 wines.
That's
So
right.
If it's
And
not
by the way, we're not sponsored by anybody, so we're just doing this for fun.
beholden to no one except the juice.
So
Just
again,
the juice.
we're not sponsored. Wink, wink. Just kidding. All right, so we're talking about the wines of the world. Yeah, we ended up in Greece this time. Chef, this was a bit of a it was a slider, a little bit away off the plate.
Certainly, I mean,
it's probably pretty hard to hit. Probably pretty hard to hit. But what do you think, food wise, you can? Well, A, what do you think would go with it, and B, what would you be putting with it? It could be two different questions there.
So, I honestly, the weight and the roundness of this makes me want to have something not as fatty, because I think the wine has an element of that can hold itself against something maybe a little drier or leaner.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
No.
I'm going to give you a choice.
I mean, this thing could go in a million different directions.
I know, and I'm going to let you choose. I'm going to give you 2 options, and you get to choose which you want to do. How does that sound?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got some braised beef.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a short rib,
mm-hmm.
4-hour braise.
Mm-hmm.
Very rich, natural reduction.
Yeah.
Or smoked duck.
Jeez.
There's something about this. I like the smoke up against this is going to be nice, and the smokiness on the duck has really extracted. I mean, has nullified a lot of the fattiness.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, it's eating leaner, but it's got a bigger flavor with the smoke, and I'm wondering if that wouldn't be an enhancement.
Well, considering that my first 2 comparisons were Merlot and Malbec, I mean, those are great duck wines.
They're great.
So I'm going to choose duck for you people.
Sounds great. Nice job.
Don't be mad at me if you wanted beef.
This may be a scenario where we end up with 4 foods in a 2-box set. These
chef had this great plan, and the song came and derailed it.
Well, every time I give you a choice, I end up putting all of them in there. Yeah. Like, hey, just tell me what you thought about the different comparisons.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a slippery slope. It's a trap.
It's a trap. But it's the kind of trap where you get a bouquet of flowers rather than a tiger pit. So, I mean, there's all kinds of traps out there.
Yeah.
This is, of all the traps, this is a good one.
Jeff, I forgot to look at the ABV on this.
Got to be low.
I would say so. 12.5.
Yep. Drinking low.
It's weird. I want to say it's refreshing, but it does have tannins.
Oh, so, yeah.
I'm not going to say that this is like a quaffer. Like, you can't just like guzzle. I mean, you can guzzle any.
Right, yeah, but you can.
I'm just talking about, generally speaking, this is, I wouldn't quite call it a refreshing red, but it is, because it does have a structure.
It does have structure. It has brightness.
And I'm grateful for that.
Acid.
Yeah.
I think the tannins are subdued, but they're there. I mean, they're there in the structure of it. But this is delightful, and I love the artwork on it.
Oh yeah, I love it. I want to savor this. We figured out, Becca and I were looking at this label earlier, and I think y'all know Becca from previous episodes. This is pretty much a dude and a chick getting it on.
Y'all dirty. Remember that time we saw a butterfly and you said the same thing? I mean, everything is.
Is that
a gum wrapper? No, that's
what can you make of this?
It's a hat. It's a brooch. It's an airplane.
It's a donkey with a hat on. Anyway, we appreciate you playing along with our silliness. That is a wonderful wine from Gai'a. Their monograph line is a great line. We've done their, was it a Agiorgitiko we did from them? I could be wrong about that, or could have been a white blend. I don't
think you're off on that.
But it might have been a blend. But anyway, we had chef, I did not.
Oh wow, a glass. How cool.
Yeah. So I had this. I brought this in for Manju about a year ago, or maybe not a year ago, but I'll make about 8 months ago. And then she wasn't here very often, so I couldn't give it to her. And so it's just been sitting there.
Burgenland.
And I honestly forgot that it had this thing in it.
That's so cool.
And so you got a little glass stopper.
You know,
It's funny.
One
I
of
just
the
went
wine
upstairs to get my wine pulled.
yeah, we still had to pull the foil.
True.
One of the wines my mom drinks a lot, they use exclusively that. And
Yeah.
I think it would be neat to make a. Thank you so much. I think it'd be neat. I wish I need to take her a bucket and have her throw them all in there because it'd be neat to make a sculpture or a piece of
Oh
art
yeah.
out of all this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that is my reminder. Can I have this when the bottle's done?
Yes,
Thank
absolutely. All right, so we are going to Burgenland. And if you don't know Burgenland, let me tell you about Burgenland. It is the red region of Austria. Austria is mostly known for whites. Of course, we do love our Gruner Veltliner and all the other delicious wines like Riesling. I mean, there's
Gewürz.
Gewürz, yes, Pinot Bianco, et cetera, et cetera. This is blaufrankish.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now,
That's a spicy
blaufrankish,
number.
blaufrankish is no joke. And this is, actually, Chef, you might remember when we did the video where I gave you COVID. When I came back from Charlotte.
I just finally gotten over it. And now you've brought it back up.
No. So I still don't know this day, somehow I got invited to a master class on Austrian wines from Burgenland. And there was like 8 people from Austria teaching a class to like 30 people from all over the Southeast. Charlotte, Charleston, Raleigh, all the big Atlanta, all the big, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia.
There's probably a DC guy there too.
There was,
or lady.
yeah, there was. Yep, there was. As a matter of fact, these are all people that were in charge of purchasing wines for really high-end restaurants and hotel chains and stuff. And anyway, somehow little Ed from Mount Airy got invited. I don't ask questions. I just went. We had over 36 wines. I lost count over lunch. And I came back here, sped back here. We did our video.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 or 4 days later, both of us had COVID. And I know I got it in that group.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
And he and I were beside each other for 30, 45 minutes, hamming it up. So I know I brought it and gave it to him at the same time. Because we were sick at the exact same time.
And got better at the exact same time.
Yeah, and it was 4 days from that day. So anyway, it was, and I want to make one point. It was totally worth it because I learned so much about Austrian wine. I had no idea the complexity of Austrian wine. I knew Gruner, I knew the whites, I knew how important they were. I mean, Vienna. Let's talk about Vienna, their capital. It's the city of wine. They take their wine very seriously.
And they consume wine, day and night.
Yeah.
I mean, and Vienna is obviously a very accomplished culture and area. So,
Yes.
I mean, they still function in the top 98%, but they drink wine for lunch in the afternoon and dinner every day. It's a big part of their life.
This producer, Heinrich, gives us a great expression of the beautiful grape that will check a lot of boxes for red wine drinkers. Now, what I will say, this is because Austria is in a cooler climate. It's not going to be as chewy as American reds from the West Coast, but all of the flavor profiles and probably maybe even then some.
I would say and then some in Heinrich's good wine for sure.
Yeah, and I mean this has so much flavor. I love this one.
It is spice galore. It's just like a cup of warm Russian tea. All those spices and mullings in there. I mean, but perfectly assimilated with the grape.
Yeah. This is a 2018. I want to make a note of, and it tastes like it was made yesterday.
It's bright as a leaf.
I don't know what the deal is with aging with a glass stopper, but
it works.
To me, I swear this could age for another 10 years. The acidity is on point.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like acidic. It's just there's acid. There's a difference. There is a life to it, a brightness to it. It's not flabby, and it really does kind of there's so much spice in this that
It's
you need that acidity to help get your to get everything moving.
well, it'd be very astringent without it.
Yeah.
It has it has a baseline that keeps it just so.
Tons of dark, like almost like plum liqueur.
Nice.
I mean, it's
nice.
a concentrated dark.
But it's a liqueur, not a stew.
Yeah, yeah,
More,
definitely.
More fine.
Yes, definitely.
It's not just cooked down for the sake of concentration.
Right.
That liqueur is very elegant.
We've had a lot of South American and California wines to get this more stewed or Spanish.
Yeah, they get very stewy. This is
where that's like from sun.
Right. That's sun ripe.
This is, I think, probably more varietal.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. I think this is more terroir influenced, not sun influenced. You can taste the earth in this.
Gosh, wish I could name that mushroom. Is it a gnocchi? It's like a cleaner mushroom.
A gnocchi for sure.
It's something chestnut. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Chestnut mushrooms, very clean.
What are those?
Gnocchis are very clean too.
Yeah, there was another little mushroom that you used back about 3 months ago. Maybe it was the chestnut mushroom. But anyway, if you think of like the lighter style mushrooms that aren't button mushrooms, like it's like a step up from button, but not as intense as like a portobello
summer
or
wild.
shiitake,
Yeah.
So there's that like that earthiness. You're talking about all the spice. I'm thinking more like barky spice, like bark, like when you're making your vermouth, use different barks and stuff.
Lots of barks.
Yeah, I know cinnamon's a bark, but
sassafras.
Yeah, things of that nature. Like it feels woody earth, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
This is really, really nice. But no, you're right. It's bark spice.
Absolutely stunning.
And it's not very peppery for all that spice, which is I think is fascinating. To me, it's really sticking out that I'm not getting. Normally, when you have a spice wine like this, you get a lot of black or white or green pepper, and I'm not picking that.
I'll tell you what.
It's there. I'm just saying it. You would think it'd be in the front.
I'll tell you what I'm getting, Chef. I'm getting. You know how when you make a classic hollandaise, it calls for just a pinch of cayenne, because you don't want to taste. You don't want to taste it. You don't want to taste the pepper,
but it tastes
you
the
want that. You want
that custard.
You want that textural pepper.
Because the custard can get lost in that custard. It can just taste like, to me, what I don't like about hollandaise, or at least most hollandaise, is it tastes like its texture, not like the sauce.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just tastes like weight.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have character.
Yeah.
It's like eggs and butter with no seasoning.
Yeah.
And even with the tarragon or whatever.
You do a béarnaise or a Chiron.
But those... the cayenne, the paprika, those things really wake it up and bring it into the sauce realm instead of the blanket realm.
Yeah. It was like, that was the only recipe coming up that I could think of in any French recipe that called for cayenne.
That makes
sense. It's just like they just don't make spice.
They don't do heat.
But that's the right choice of pepper for that dish, because black pepper adds flavor, white pepper adds flavor, cayenne adds like a little heat. prickle heat. And that's what I get.
And you only add enough to activate your saliva, your taste buds. You're not using it, like you said, you're not using it to numb down or to heat, but a little bit of that.
You don't even notice it till the finish.
Well, that's what I think I was saying, like about the texture of a custard. It dulls your palate. All that butter and egg, it coats your palate, so nothing.
It's weighty.
The flavors can't get to your receptors.
Yeah.
Because it's coated, and that cayenne penetrates and allows your sensory receptors.
And on top of that, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, you're putting that sauce on an egg dish. It's just like
come on,
good Lord,
and bread, bread and eggs. It might be threatened with.
That's why I love béarnaise on a steak.
On a steak,
it makes more sense.
It makes a lot of sense on a seasoned steak.
Right.
not an unseasoned muffin and egg that's been rinsed of its flavor in water.
Right. Yeah. Good point.
With maybe like I said, threatened with some cured ham and a slice of spinach.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great. And then of course all those hash browns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to further dull it all down.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be $28.
Yep. And this is a stunner for under $40. If you're looking for that next red in your portfolio that you've got all the Cabs and Merlots and the Pinots and Zinfandels and Malbecs, of course. Am I forgetting any of the major ones?
No, those are biggies.
You know, this could be your grape. And, for me, this would be a great place. This one would be a great place. I'm always trying to get people together at the table.
Always. That's
And
your
when I talk
Mm-hmm.
about this at the chef's table all the time, I was like, this wine can get the sweet wine drinkers over to the dry wine. I'm like always saying,
this one
or I
can
can get the
launch
white
you to the
wines
next
the red.
level.
Yeah.
Right.
This one could merge those red wine drinkers. So you got this big dichotomy between like the big Cab Syrahs to the Pinots and Gamay.
Right.
But if you can find a place in the middle, I think this is it. I really do think that this could get people to sit at the same table. The Pinot drinker and the Cab drinker can obviously find something they like in it.
And with air getting to this and it warming up a little bit, that Chambord's coming out. That raspberry liqueur is starting to seep into where it started out as really dark fruit.
Yeah.
The brighter strawberry, raspberry liqueurs are coming out now, and it's balancing out.
We're serving this a little bit cooler than serving temperature, probably around 60. I don't know what the actual producer asked, honestly, but and that's my bad. But I generally serving our reds around 65 to 68 here because we're Americans and we always drink things too warm. But we also drink. We like to bring our whites up way beyond what
they should be. Yeah.
What the producers tell us to do because we like to see everything in there. And I think this is a great way. This wine does benefit from some chill, so don't be afraid to put a little chill on it. Maybe stick it in the fridge for 10 minutes.
Well, and then one of the greatest moments in cinematic history is when Leslie Nielsen started a prison riot because the 1955 Blanc Le Blanc was served at room temperature instead of slightly chilled.
And he has
a lot of people lost their lives that day.
That was, gosh, like we couldn't love that guy anymore. And then he does that. Yeah. That's an important time in American history right there.
I mean, it was a turning point in American culture. When you saw the ramifications of serving room temperature wine that should be served slightly chilled.
Yeah. And those prisoners deserve better.
They did.
They really did. Well, maybe one day we'll actually get to taste that wine. But anyway, we've got a couple of beauties here. 2 reds today from Austria and Greece. 2 of the biggest players, in my opinion, of importance, certainly, in the wine culture of modern wine. Austria kind of had a tough go of it back in the 80s, and that bled into the 90s, and they've overcome their past. Where Greece, honestly, they didn't do enough to, in my opinion, control what was being served out there because I think a lot of people got turned off by Greek wines by going into little Greek diners and things in America, and they taste their wines and they're not good.
No.
And because there was just too much export to the United States, it wasn't great. And Gai'a is somewhat, relatively new. They've probably only been making wines for about 30 years. I could be wrong about that, but they produce quality. If you see the Gai'a name, that's important. One of the things that I try to prepare our guests for here is after they spend time with us, or if they spend time watching the video or here with the tasting or at the chef's table, that they could be better purchasers. And what I will tell people is, if you're in doubt, look for this producer or this region. And Heinrich and Gai'a, their whole portfolios are wonderful, and that's important. So even if you're just introduced to a wine, you're really introduced to the producer, and you'd be surprised how many one-hit wonders there are out there in the wine world.
Big time.
And I'm going to keep buying those one-hit wonders, but I'm not going to buy the rest of their portfolio. If you hear me say you can buy the rest of their portfolio worry-free, then I mean that. And I think that's important for us to understand. That we're not just giving you one single wine. Oftentimes, we're opening a whole portfolio, or oftentimes it could be a region or a place.
Yeah, the region. Absolutely. You've highlighted several regions. Like, you could accidentally drop a vine in here, and it's going to produce
like pick pull.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
We love pick pull. I mean, like, have you ever had a bad pick pull?
There's no such thing.
Yeah. Chef, did we talk about the food? I'm sorry, I might have skipped the food part on the Heinrich. We was gonna go with the beef.
Yeah, and I'm gonna we are, and I'm gonna put a little cheese in there too. I've got some of that lovely tone that I think I'm gonna put in there as well.
Yeah.
So there'll be a few surprises.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you'll have something delicious,
and you can mix and match and see how it goes.
Remember, pairing is personal as well. I want you to realize that there's no perfect pairing for me to decide for you. I have certainly had what I would consider perfect pairings. That was for my palate. And when Chef Chris and I are sitting down, we're picking the best case scenarios, but that might not trick your trigger. So don't be afraid. I tell people all the time at these tastings, try whatever food that we have with whatever wine you want, and you tell me, because I've learned a lot from mispairing.
Yeah. Oh, a mistake will teach you.
A mistake will teach you.
Than something done right. You know.
No.
Not that there's a lot of those, but that's why they tend to have such an imprint because they're such a good teacher.
Yep. And I hope that our little sound thingy worked. If not, you probably just watched us.
Well, they can normally hear us anyway, so I would imagine it.
Well, anyway,
hopefully it's crisp.
Any chance you get, like one of our videos, leave a comment on one of our videos, and share a video, subscribe, etc., and find us a sponsor.
Easy enough.
Easy breezy.
Easy breezy.
And we will hopefully do one of these from Spain. We did one from Portugal last year, and we're almost ready to release that.
We got 3 weeks.
Well,
and pressing upload is hard.
We also need to plan a trip with our friends out there, so maybe we could do that sometime.
There's plenty of unexplored.
Anybody want to travel with us?
We'll go eating.
Imagine us like this, but in the R-rated version instead of the PG version.
It's a great way to be.
Mm-hmm. Hey, cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Thank you for spending time with us.
And happy Valentine's to all you lovebirds. We won't see you until after Valentine's, so I hope you have a great one.
Enjoy.